Coming up on this episode of the Spiro Podcast.
Don't change 100% of your processes for like the 2% of like mistakes. If one little thing goes wrong, don't change everything about your life because of that. So I think it's the same. Your first hire, your second hire, your first 2 VAs don't work out, doesn't mean that, they're not going to work out.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Craig and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software package, a platform designed to help you manage your day-to-day business, whether you're a small boutique real estate media company or a large, growing regional company as well. I'm your host, Craig Magrum. Welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time, we are so happy to have you and just very grateful. We don't take that for granted because we know you as a business owner, especially, your time is busy. So the fact that you're taking time out of your schedule to either watch or listen is not lost on us. So thank you for taking that time. Each and every week, our co-host and Spiro owner and founder, Todd Craig, joins us. Welcome back. Well, I guess actually you should be welcoming me back since.
Yes. Well, welcome back, Craig.
Right.
You were out hard working last week. And I went into just a black hole of speaking last week. So you and Colleen, our guest, can save me today. I'll be the one not speaking today. But good to have you back, Craig, and excited for another great week.
Yeah, that fun northern Ohio weather that we had to deal with and rescheduling several shoots. And you serve the clients and you do what they need. So, yeah, I had to take care of business. So. Awesome. All right. Well, we do have a guest this week. We'll be introducing her, a repeat guest. We're excited to have her back on the podcast. So we'll introduce Colleen in just a few minutes. But first, a couple of things that we want to take care of. So 2 weeks ago, Todd, we did a book giveaway, but no takers on that. So no problem. We're going to put that book back on the shelf, but I have a different book to give away this week, one that I did a lot of highlighting in. It's another John Maxwell book called Developing the Leader Within You, and version 2.0.
That's a good one, Craig.
It's a classic. Really great material if you are leading a team. So we're going to give away this book. Now, this is my personal copy. I have a lot of highlights in this, not a ton of notes. I had to go through it, make sure there was nothing, super dark or introspective as I was going through my leadership journey. But yeah, excited to give this away. And Todd, we're just going to take the first person to respond on this Pink Spiro chat bubble in their Spiro platform?
Pink Spiro chat bubble. I renamed it today. You guys didn't know that, into the Chiro chat. But anyways, hey, if you want the book, just let us know. If I missed you last week, let me know for the book we gave away. It was good. We heard from a lot of you, which is fabulous. We love hearing from you guys, but mention the book in your message that you send to us. Like, hey, I want the book. And we will send it to the first person that wants it.
Yep. All right. Cool. That's taken care of. We've got a number of updates on Spiro to talk about, Todd. What's going on?
We do. So these are coming soon, very soon, potentially by the time you're listening to this. So about the first week of March, we are slated. And this is going to be a review process for you to send to your clients at any point you wish. So this could be after they place the order, after the shoot's done, after the media's delivered, but finding out what they thought is incredibly important to knowing the health of your business. And if they're happy, let's ask them for a review on a review platform of your choice. And if they're not happy, at least we can collect that feedback. We can get them before they go to the review platform so that we can fix any problems. So that will be coming. Also a landing page of your order pages. So many of us, we shoot different types of categories, being residential, commercial, short-term rentals, lifestyle headshots, whatever you want to put, whatever your whatever your order page advertises, you'll be able to group those onto a landing page and then advertise that to your clients. So we're excited about that coming. And then we have some UI and UX updates for the way that the order page is functioning. So we're going to give you some new goodies. ability to add more media in. We want to turn the order page into more of a sales tool. It already sells right now. It has 2 upsell features, but we want to turn it into selling better for you. So this will be the first of many updates to come to allow you to better advertise what you do on your website or what you do for your clients on your order page.
Sure.
So
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll look for those updates. And then some learning opportunities as well with Spiro Academy. What's going on there?
yes, the Spiro Academy. We have, so Shannon on the team has come up with this idea, and it's fabulous based on your guys' feedback. We have Spiro 101, 202, and 301. Something like that. I forget. This brings back the days of college, but we've got 3 classes right now. The first being just a very introductory class of the day-to-day working. So this is not how do I set up Spiro. We have guides for that. We have a white glove service that we can do that for you. This is how do I use it. The second is how do I price my services? So this is one that we get asked a ton. What should I price? How should I price it? Is this too much? Is this too little? What does my competitors do? And Shannon is going to host and hold that class. And then Spiro 301 is the actual setting up of the Spiro task and workflows. That's with myself. That's how to gear up and make sure that the system can do all of your task and to-do list after the shoot. So we're going to guide you with those things. If you want to know when and where, you can head over to the Spiro Super User Facebook page. All of them are as events in there. And we're going to do them, all of the classes, at least twice a month. So check it out on there, mark it, put it on your calendar, and come join us. And we are there to help you get all of that going for your company.
Excellent. All right. We got a lot going on.
We do. And it's important that we know what you all want out there. Continue to send us great feedback. I love hearing from you guys. And I love it. You guys must be listening to this podcast in the car, and you send in the pink chat bubble and you all are using talk to text, which is fine. I don't mind. You apologize profusely for the talk to text because it spells words weird and Spiro becomes Sparrow or Sparrow. And I don't mind. Send me your thoughts. Those are gold nuggets in your head. Send them to me. I'll analyze it. It'll get to me. Okay. So if you have an idea, if you have a need, let us know. We're here to help. We want to know what's in your head. So you can email us hello@spiro.media, or if you're a Spiro user, the pink chat bubble in the bottom right-hand corner will lead you to the same inbox.
And if somebody has a feature that they'd like to see developed in the software, what's the best way for them to communicate that to us, Todd?
Craig, we have a board for that. Thank you for asking. In the upper right-hand corner, when you log into Spiro, there is there's something up there. It says feedback, I think. What the heck is up there? Feedback? Goodness.
Feedback. Yep.
It says feedback. I created the button, so my brain is just going to kick in here, guys. And I don't have to give you much today because Colleen's going to give it all to you. So as far as knowledge of what's going to come up, but click the feedback button, go to a board, and you can suggest anything you want. You can see what else has been suggested, and you can upvote other users' suggestions as well.
Awesome. Lots of ways to get feedback to us, and we really do value that. So thank you. All right. Well, let's dive into this, Todd. We love having guests, and we have had this guest on once before and just had a fantastic interview with her, and just got some really good insight on mindsets. And our returning guest was a guest speaker at the REPP 2024 conference back, was that November, Todd?
Yes.
Yeah, back in November, and shared a great topic. And I'm going to let you take over from here in introducing Colleen.
Yeah, so Colleen Kydd, love Colleen. I met her a couple years ago at the REPP conference, and she has just been a wealth of knowledge for us all in the community, not only just from a logistical standpoint, what we're going to talk about today, but also a mindset, just so inspirational. Her story is amazing. And she's built a really, really great business, a real estate photography business. And so I'm excited to have her back on today. Colleen, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. So happy to be back with my guys, back with the Spiro podcast. I love it. Thank you for having me.
Always great to have you on, Colleen. You were able to get away a little bit not long ago, right?
Yes, Tim and I, my husband Tim, we just went on a week-long vacation. We got back 2 days ago. We went to Roatan, Honduras. So it's
Oh,
an
wow.
island off the coast of Honduras. And it was the very first time that we've left, and we've truly like left everything behind, like left everything in the dust. Like my Slack was silenced, my open phone, well, my open phone's always silenced. My email was silenced. I told the team, if you need me, reach out to me directly, and they never did. So it was a true
Hey.
It's awesome.
vacation, and it was really great. And it was a special vacation for us because it's just one of my favorite places in the world. And I used to live there. And so I got to show it to Tim for the first time,
Oh, wow.
what life was like on the island. And a lot of things have changed, but a lot of things were the same, and saw a lot of friends. And it was just, it was great. It felt good. I felt like there was a couple times when I'm like, I had this urge to like just check in on the team, and I refrained because that is something that I need to work on. Is sometimes I like will insert myself like when I don't need to be, and it's a me
Mhm.
problem. So I really held off, and it was great.
I was going to ask you if there were any sort of like withdrawal symptoms from being
Yeah.
plugged in. No, that's a real thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, there definitely were just like the urge to check in on the team. And
Mhm.
what book have I been reading lately? But it talks about like the owners just like self-sabotaging by like everything's going good, so they have to like jump in and like micromanage something. And like I'm like, shoot, that's me. But like I'm aware of it, so like I don't do it, and I didn't do it. And they were great. And I had a meeting with my admin, Jensen, when we got back, and she was like, "Good news, everything went great." And I was like,
Yay.
"Great."
Oh, that is so awesome. And Colleen, remind everyone again how long you've been doing this for, because it's not very long to get to that payoff, which is so exciting.
Yes, we filed for our LLC in August of 2022. Probably had our first shoot around November. I mean, it took us a while to get a client, but yeah, just since 2022. So we'll be 3 years old this year in August.
And we should mention uh, Colleen and your husband's name again. I'm sorry,
Tim,
Tim. Yep, Kid, owners of Three Palms Media in Florida. What's your main market, Colleen?
Southwest Florida. So
Awesome,
like, yeah, we're like 2 hours south of Tampa. We're Port Charlotte all the way down to Marco Island.
awesome,
That's so
awesome.
great. And one thing where Colleen has grown really quick, they shoot, it's not like it's just, they shoot fabulous homes, like huge homes, like high-end homes. So I always love her insight because with WOW, we're a little bit different as to where in the Midwest, in Ohio, I mean, the homes are great here, but they're not like what Colleen shoots. So at WOW, we're more of a volume-based business as to where Colleen is still doing a lot of volume, but doing high end as well. So, and to grow it in that short time is just fabulous. So, congrats on that, Colleen.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been great. A lot of hard work, but a lot of good times too.
Yeah. Now, Colleen, for a listener out there saying, "Oh, vacation, what's that?" I could never, imagine leaving. I remember some of those trips very early on when I left and we vacationed, and it was like having to call back to the States from out of the country. And it wasn't like you got on the internet and message, like you dialed at like $2 a minute and talked to someone in the US. And like, you'd pull your phone out of the room safe in the morning and you'd call back, or I would call back. And it just that feeling of like, oh my goodness, what's happening? And like all the pre-planning. So for our listeners out there going, I don't think I could ever vacation. Like I'm shooting everything, I'm selling everything, I'm making sure everything gets done. I'm the answering service, I'm the quality control, I'm the support. And I just feel a little bit stuck in my business. That's a real thing. I remember those days as well. I remember when I was 6 months behind on billing and I was running as fast as I could. And I was happy because the business was doing good, but it was taking over my life. And I just felt stuck. And then realized that I had to depend on others to help actually grow the business, to get unstuck, to actually move faster, to get to the goal of why I started my business. So remember, you all out there started a business for some reason. Just remember those reasons of why you started the business. But regardless of what your reason is, stay aligned with that. But you're going to have to depend on others. And you can't do everything in your business, or you are going to crash and burn. You're going to hate your business. You're going to feel like you're a prisoner of your business. And you're going to start saying things again like, hey, what if I just had a 9-to-5 job? Remember, when you started your business, you were complaining about working a 9-to-5 job. So our brains do silly things like that to us. It's okay. It happens to all of us. We're here to help you today. Colleen's here to help you because she has become fabulous, a master at building a team. Her ability to build relationships is incredible. But we're going to talk specifically about a hiring process for your photographers and the team. So, Colleen, why is it so important to grow if you want to grow your business and you want to get out of your business, step out of it so your business can work for you? Why is it important to depend on others? Or is this just something that I only think? Do you align with these ideas?
No, it's important to depend on others so you can go on vacation. That literally is the reason that I started my own business, because I am just appalled with only 3 or 4 weeks, or some people have 2 weeks of vacation. I just couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it. So, I mean, that's why, if you listen to the first podcast, that's why I quit my job and traveled the world for 2 years, because I needed more vacation. So that was a big reason that I wanted just ownership over my life in general. But it is difficult when you jump ship and you start building your business and it's going great and you're getting busy, and it's your baby, it's your child, it's my child, and no one can babysit it but me. So that was a real struggle for me, is letting go and coming to terms with the fact that nobody is going to love your baby as much as you. Like, it's impossible. Like, it's impossible. So you need to recognize that, and you just need to find people that you can pour into, that you kind of give life to, and see them, and not just worry about them seeing you and your business, and let go. Like, you just need somebody that can do things maybe like 80% as good as you. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But it's never going to be 100%. And then, but I've also found a lot of joy in building a team and mentoring people and coaching people and walking them through some of the things that I had to walk myself through, like when you make mistakes shooting or whatever, and just knowing that it's all part of the process and that we expect that and that we're not perfect. It's really just about how we can learn and grow from there. So yeah, you have to let go. It's hard. It is hard, but you absolutely have to let go, or else you will be in a prison that you created for yourself. When you wanted to just go on vacation, like, it's crazy. Yeah.
So, Colleen, I think the thing that I've run into, and I think a lot of us have run into when we're starting to grow a team and trying to step back a little bit and work on our business instead of in our business, is that challenge of the relationships that you've developed with your clients go deep, right? They trust you as their photographer, their videographer, whatever. And the second you try to introduce a new person to that process or a new person to the team, that initial pushback of, well, no, I hired you, I didn't hire your teammate or your new member. How have you handled that as you started to grow your team?
Sometimes I feel like people forget that our clients are like people too, and like they have goals and dreams too, and that you can be honest with them. It's not like all business. So we really shared a lot of our goals with our clients. We called up our clients. We told them about what our dreams were for our business, how excited we were about so-and-so that we just brought on, that we wanted their feedback on them, things like that. We share a lot about it on our Instagram too. our Instagram isn't perfect or anything, but I do try to like get on there and talk as just like a person. And I show us training our team. I'm like, hey, we're at a video workshop today where the whole team's here and we're training them on XYZ. I do behind the scenes of our team meetings. Like we did like an award ceremony
Hmm.
twice last year. And so like I shared that. I'm like, Julian got the whatever award so that people see us like with our team and how much we're pouring into our team and that they really are an extension of us. We're not just like finding people and just like throwing them out there. We're training them, we're mentoring them, we're guiding them. So I think sharing that a lot and talking about it and just being open about the fact that this is what we were trying to do instead of trying to like hide it and just slip a new photographer in there. We found that just that transparency has worked really well for us. And yes, there are still the people that are just like, no, hard stop, need Tim. And something that I had to get over and realize and come to terms with and kind of remove the ego part of it is that you are going to lose clients as you grow. And that's
Mm.
totally fine. Like the clients that built you to your first level of business aren't the ones that are going to get you to your second level. So there's a couple people out there, they want just to see Tim every day. They want just to see, Craig, like you're their guy and they want that one-on-one relationship. And so when we can no longer provide that, if they choose to go somewhere else, like I just had to learn to be fine with that because I'm going to gain 10 more clients. Like the teams that we work with now, we could never work with if it was just him. They need people that can shoot at the same time. Like we're shooting for them 3 times at 10 a.m. And things like that. I would never been able to work with them when we were a solo shooter and then vice versa.
Hmm.
So just recognizing that there's different clients for different types of businesses. And as you grow, you're going to have to shed, but you're also going to gain things that you couldn't do solo.
I love that so much, Colleen. You said that your first clients are not the type of clients that are going to take you to like your tier 2 in business. And I think that's so true. Goodness, there's so much to dive in there. One thing that I love is your transparency and your honesty. That was one thing that I struggle with, not so much the honesty, but the transparency of sharing that as to where early on is like we'd grow and it's like, okay, we're just going to send Ryan. And I really like Ryan and Ryan's really good. And maybe they'll just think that it's actually Todd, even though it's Ryan and Ryan's, 8 inches shorter and looks completely different. And it's so I think that's so smart about being transparent. And then also look at this fabulous tool that we all have with social media with showing that and being transparent about those items. So I love that idea, showing the behind the scenes, showing the training, sharing the goals. Because one thing also to remember is that our clients have those same goals. Realtors, it's their goal. They want to grow. Many of them say, hey, I want to be the number one realtor, the number one team, or I want to sell this much. Like they're on this journey with us as well. And being transparent, I can tell you has moved us so far along. And in fact, that's one thing that right after we launched Spiro, that you all told me like, hey, we really want to know what's going on. Like, we're in the system. We love it. We want to feel connected. Just, you don't have to do everything we say, but can you tell us what's going on? So I completely agree with the transparency.
You got to like make people part of like your community, like bring them along for the ride, like have them feel like they're involved. So I think being transparent and like showing all that kind of makes them feel like, they're like, oh, I was there from the beginning when it was just Tim. And they think it's so cool to like watch us grow.
Not only from a client perspective, Colleen, but from a team perspective, do you find that transparency, like new photographers coming in, I'm sure they search you, they look you up on Instagram. Do they find these things? Does that give them some insight as to how great your company is too? And do you think that increases the demand for them wanting to work for you?
Oh, the employees? The
employees.
Yeah. We get people that reach out to us and ask for a job, which is crazy. People definitely see what we're doing and they want to work at Three Palms Media, which is just something I never expected. I'm like, wait,
that is so cool.
You want to come be at Three Palms Media? Awesome. So that has definitely been helpful. And then in the interview process, and even from the job description right off the bat, like we talk about that. I want them to understand that this is like more than just a photography job. First of all, it's like literally not a photography job actually, but it's more than just that. And you're going to get this whole team, and we meet as a team every other week, and we go out on outings, and our Slack channel pops off, and there's just a lot of camaraderie here, and that is something we get feedback on all the time from our team, is that they love being a part of Three Palms Media.
Again, Craig, we go back to this almost every week, where something we talk about ties back to relationships and the importance of relationships, and the importance that humans just want to connect, and they want to have belonging, and they want to belong somewhere. And I believe as a whole, people want to do good and want to do good for you as an employer, and building those relationships is so important.
Being real and authentic with people, and finding that in the marketplace, everyday marketplace, workplace, I think is more rare than we realize. Like true authenticity and human to human relationship building. Colleen, I was sharing with the team this morning during our staff meeting that I just joined an association up here in my market, that I'm the minority in the room. And the warmness and authenticity of this group of people in welcoming me as a new member just has struck me in a very profound way. And I jumped in. I thought I was going to be the newbie that just kind of flew under the radar for a little while and kind of got to know the group. And somehow I found myself on the public relations committee immediately. But it was because of just the warmness and the authenticity and the immediate relationship building that this group was doing that made me want to be a part of this and help promote its mission. And I think it's the same thing when you're hiring a team. The authenticity and just warmness that you as the owner can extend to potential new team members will have a huge impact on people's lives.
Yeah. And that has been one of my favorite parts. Like, I have team members that will tell me in their one-on-ones or just randomly, like, how much Tim or I or both of us have just impacted their lives. Because I mean, in their one-on-ones, we do one-on-ones with all of our team members every other month about, and of course we talk about business and stuff, but the majority of it is really just about their personal goals, where they're at, what's truly holding them back. Okay, maybe they have arrived late a few times. It's not because they can't set their alarm. Like, why are you actually being late? Like, what is it that you're like holding yourself back on? And I peel back the layers on that. And a lot of times it's just a confidence issue, or just something they're not, feeling like themselves, things like that. So we really dive into a lot of that. And I think that's something that not maybe a lot of people experience when they're talking to their employer or their leader, things like that. But that's something that we really, really focus on, because I think that's really what matters. And if that can help make them a better person or more comfortable in their life, then they're automatically going to be a better, team member of Three Palms Media. Absolutely. So we focus a lot on that. And I think really being generous with our time and just anything. Like, I think as we grow, just the more we give, the more generous we are, the more things come back. So whether that's, compensating them extra hours for doing something, or just spending more time talking to them, calling them, things like that, I think is really important. I think a lot of times, you just want to hire people and just let them go and not really have to like nurture them. But I don't think that that's going to get you the results that you ultimately want, because when we show them how much we care about them, they begin to just care so much more about our clients and how they're doing and things like that. And it's all just very full circle.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge advantage. And the way you're doing it is so smart, Colleen. When I started off, at least, I thought being a boss was telling people what to do. And it's like, hey, I'm going to tell people what to do, and I'm going to be ultra professional, and I'm going to make sure that they know what they're to do. And as I flipped that and just turned it into you're really, like Colleen said, peeling back those layers. Like, don't hurt, like if they've been late or they've done something wrong, don't jump to the conclusions that they did it because they wanted your company not to be great. Like, there are so many reasons underneath that. And that's typically what you'll find is they don't want to let you down. That's why I had a lot of like, hey, I really didn't want to let you down. And then you get some things that come from working, not wanting to let someone down, that can be negative. And really the real core issue was they didn't want to let you down. Also, the other thing to think about is your employees, they don't have this, they have a different mindset than what you have. So you might work one way, but they don't want to work that way, or they don't think that's important. The relationship is important. Understanding they belong somewhere is important. A lot of times I would have talks with some of my other leaders at WOW, and they'd be like, I would never do that. It's like, well, no, I get that. We don't need to find we're not finding you. Like, this was the individual that's head of our training and at the company a very long time. Like, I get that you've done this for 10 years now. Like, I get you don't want to go and do that. We just need to find people who find that exciting, and specifically with the photographers of, as you drive, like, let's all be honest, as you start shooting less, the idea of driving 40,000 miles again becomes kind of not so attractive, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't want to sit in the car for that long. But there are people that love to go see houses and see how people live and build relationships with realtors and get to create this fabulous media that helps realtors advertise houses, that gets people to sell. And Craig, and you love it too. And now you've kind of shifted a little bit into a hybrid role. So it's like you get a good mix of different things, but that's growth, y'all. That's just really growth. And that's a fabulous thing. So don't assume that your thoughts are your employees' thoughts.
Right. So Colleen, at REPP 2024, part of the material that you shared was growing your dream team. So we've talked a lot about, relationships and authenticity, and that's great. But let's kind of drill down on your method of growing your dream team. Can you kind of step us through what you've developed and how you hire and find the right team members, and kind of break that down in some practical steps for people?
Yes, I can definitely do that. So we've always done job postings on Indeed. That's just the only place I've ever posted. When I think about creating our job posting, I want it to feel like, I want them to get that feeling that is Three Palms Media when they're reading it. So I try not to make it so much like all the other job postings maybe that you see on there that just kind of lack personality and things like that. So that's where I first start. I want every part of the process to give you like a different feeling. And then I really utilize like those questions on there that they have to answer, like little things like, are you willing to commute to this area? Do you have a reliable car? Do you understand that this is a variable hour job? Like these little things that like, I don't want to like get on the phone and talk to you about and realize you're like, oh, variable hours doesn't work for me, or I don't have, reliable transportation, whatever, things like that. So I list out all these questions to make them like, I want them to work to put in an application, not just apply. So they have to answer all of these questions that I put on there. And then I put in our job posting a couple things. One, I hide a little secret message at the end that says, if you've made it this far, in your response, right? I love palm trees. So I want somebody who's detail oriented, right? That's so excited about this job that they're reading the entire job description. And then they'll write, I love palm trees in there. And I immediately am like, okay, I can interview you. And then I also ask them to send me a video answering 3 questions. The questions are typically, tell me about yourself and what you love. And I always like how people answer that, because people will answer that so many different ways. Like when I say, tell me what you love, like so many different answers. I feel like that gets to tells me a lot about the person. And then I ask something like, why does this job interest you? And then like, what are your goals, or what are you looking for? Something like that. I want them to put in the work to actually apply. I want them to be excited about it. So they send a video, and then and then I'll do like 15-minute I have Calendly. So I'll do like a 15 or 20-minute Calendly, and I'll send out that link, and I'll say, hey, let's jump on a phone call or whatever, a video specifically. I need to see their face. Like, it cannot be just over the phone. And so we do that. And my goal for that is that I'm not talking, they are. So I need to understand who they are, what I call it, I'm trying to figure out what their destination is. What do they desire? Do they want to be working full time? Do they want to be part time? Because they also want to be like half stay at home dad. Like, what are they actually looking for? What is their desired end state? Because it needs to line up with what we need for just the uniqueness of this job. So I'm having them talk, and then I will move on to in-person 90-minute, usually they go about 90 minutes, hour, 90 minutes in-person interviews. And there's where we'll really dive into more of the job and things like that. Like, I don't need to tell them every little detail about the job on the 15-minute phone interview. It's really like me understanding what they want and need to see if that lines up with us. And then we can go and really talk about everything after that. So we meet up in person, we talk, we keep it conversational. I'm looking for, do you have good eye contact? I'm looking for, did you walk into the room with confidence? Because walking into these different houses every day isn't actually easy at all. Like, you're walking into a new environment every single day. So I'm looking for those things. I do not care if you've ever touched a camera before. Do not care. I don't care about media or anything like that. I really care about them as a person, and if their schedule works for their life. Now, sometimes people just really want to be a photographer and videographer, and they will say that the schedule works for their life, and it doesn't. So that is why it's so important for you to understand, like, what is their actual destination before you start talking about the job. So that's kind of our interview process. I'll just pause there. I can talk about training and stuff too, but I didn't want to go too long. If you have any like questions or comments on that.
I have a few, Colleen. I love the idea of using that word destination. I'm going to borrow and steal that from you and start using that. I think that's so important to understand with an individual. So during this process, are there times where you begin to maybe bend or flex on what you need because you feel as though you can't find people to do it? Or is there, I know looking back at, wow, like sometimes they're like, oh, we're going to take a flyer on this person. It's just like, we don't know if people really want to do this. I guess that's maybe a better question. Do you find that with that process there and making people work during the interview process, which I think is really smart, but like kind of some of these, for the lack of a better term, hoops to jump through, do people do that? Are there people out there wanting to do this job?
Yeah. There's definitely people out there that want to do it. And I just don't have time to like waste on the people that just are mass applying, and, they see a higher hourly rate, because we're W-2 and we pay hourly and things like that. But it's variable, right? So, I get a lot of job applicants because they'd be like, oh, $30, $35 an hour, things like that. So that attracts a lot of people, but you do have to make sure that they actually want to do this job. But people get excited about not being behind a desk. People get excited about working for a local small like business. People get excited about, like you said earlier, Todd, getting to explore beautiful Ohio or Southwest Florida. They want to be out and about. They want to see stuff. They want to talk to people every day. They're like, oh my God, I get to fly a drone. And sometimes I think about it. I'm like, this job is pretty cool. It's cool.
It is.
Yeah. So there's definitely people out there, and people that it works for their life, because it is. So that's the biggest thing I'm looking for with like destination. Like, this is a variable hour job for us. I cannot guarantee hours. I cannot hire you full time. That's not part of our business model. So examples of people on our team are a wedding photographer, a DJ, a guy whose wife works full time, and he wants to like have a lot of flexibility to be like a dad to his 4-year-old kid. But loves the idea of like going out and being creative. He used to actually he was a creative director at like a big marketing like thing. And he's like, I no longer became the creative. I just became the manager. I want to be hands-on and I want to be a dad. I'm like, oh, that's a good fit. Like, you think that these people don't exist, but they actually do. And then what are some other, people in school on our team? And then there is people that do rely on Three Palms Media for the majority of their income. And they work like 30 something, 35 hours a week or so. And that works for them. And people that want to learn how to use a camera, things like that. So there is a lot of good things about it. The biggest one is we cannot guarantee hours. That's what we really have to uncover. Is that going to work for you or not?
Yeah, I think those expectations and communication up front will save you so much in the end. And I know many times, again, I was like, oh, I'm going to compromise on this because I feel like we didn't get really good applicants. Like, please, y'all, do not compromise. You're not going to find a perfect person. I'm not saying that. But if there is something that is core to the job, like, don't hire them. You're someone who needs full-time work with seasonal, variable, all of the things that come into real estate photography. Like, don't bend on that, because they're going to get through busy season and they're going to realize, like, hey, they're slow season and they're going to go find something else that they need. So please don't compromise on some core aspects of what we all need as real estate photographers or real estate photography business owners. I keep getting these emojis coming up. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all, but I oh my goodness, these emojis. This is just like, there's probably a setting somewhere. I do have one more question, Colleen. So someone hiring for the first time, posting on that, great idea of be personable with the job description, use questions appropriately. Go back, y'all, and listen. She gave you what she does. Do that. What is the idea of, like, top of funnel? How many people come in? How many people do you come down to? How many people do you have to talk to? What is, just from a number standpoint, can you give us just a rough estimate of kind of numbers of people that need to apply, people that you review their questions, that actually answer the questions, people that you talk to 15 minutes, and then down to like that hour and a half interview?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it has like the more you hire people, the better you're going to be at it. And I have made multiple mistakes. I've probably hired 3 or 4 people against my gut, and none of them have worked out. I learned no longer to do that. Like Todd just said, do not compromise, but it's really hard. Like the first person I hired, he was super creative and I thought he was going to make amazing videos, and he was super creative, but he was absolutely not good at anything else. Like, the organization, the accountability, the emotional intelligence, none of that was there. I was blinded by like knowing how creative this person was. So, and then you learn more. Like it can be a painful process. Like it's very hard to just get it right. Like the even times where I'm like, okay, I'm a pro now. Like I know how to hire people, and I would still make a mistake. So I give myself a little bit of grace there, but it varies. I have gotten as many as like 70, 100 applicants like on Indeed. And then there's been times when I have phone interviewed like 12 to 20 people at times. It's not always like that. It wasn't like that this last round, but you learn, and having that video, them send you that video, that wasn't something I always did. That is really helpful to cutting down on my time. Because if I could see somebody talking and on a video, that's almost as good as that 15-minute phone call. It's almost as good. So that has really helped me cut back on like doing like 20, 15-minute phone calls. I don't do group interviews. I know a lot of people suggest that. We don't do it. It's not my vibe. And I've also never really tried it. So I could be missing out, but we don't do that. And then I will interview in person. If I'm looking for one photographer, I will interview at least four people in person. So typically
4 in person. Yeah. Okay.
We were interviewing about 4 in person, 4 or 5, and we're hiring 1 or 2 at a time is typically what we've been doing.
Gotcha. And then after your interview, Colleen, is that the final interview and you decide, or does someone else on your team get them? How does that look?
It is right now. It is the final interview. I will know after that interview. I think as we're growing now, we'd like to bring a team member or so, kind of call them up a little bit. I don't know when that is. I have no idea when that is. And involve them more in that, like what we're looking for and things like that. But so far it's just that one interview, and then we're good to go. Now, when I hired my admin, it was more involved. I felt like that was a bigger job. I interviewed, first of all, I interviewed too many people in person. I think I interviewed 8 people and I was looking for one. And it's because I was so nervous about like getting this one right. And, you know, the truth is I found the person that I wanted like right away, but I kept going because I felt like I was so scarred. Sometimes you like go so far the opposite way, right? I was so scarred from making a mistake with my first photographer, even though I was probably on my 4th photographer at the time before I hired my admin. But it was painful, but I always call people in person. I cried. I cried when I had to call these admin people. A lot of them are really great, but Tim and I just believe that if you interview them in person, you have to give them a phone call and not just an email. And so I had to call 7 people and tell them they didn't get the job. And it was awful. So I don't want to interview that many people again for a job like that. But,
yeah, I agree 100%. You should call them if they came and they have got to that point and they spent an hour or hour and a half with you. You should call them. You never know. You might hire these people down the road.
Right.
You know, if they got to that step, they're pretty good. So don't write it off. Some things might change.
Back. We've called actually a couple. Our first guy that I hired and fired, the guy that I didn't hire, Julian, I had to call him back a couple months later and be like, I need you on the team. Like, and this was before I fired the first guy. I knew I made a mistake. I called him. He was still interested because when we, you know, told him he didn't get the job, we called him, stuff like that. I've had a girl on my team, Faith. I made a mistake. I didn't hire her. I hired somebody else based on the wrong reasons. And I called her, told her she didn't get the job. A day later, I called her and I said, I made a mistake. I really, really think that I'd love to have you on the team. And honestly, that kind of almost made it like stronger, the relationship a little bit stronger. And now she's an awesome member of our team. So it give yourself some grace if you're out there and you're trying to hire. Like, it is not easy. It is difficult, but you learn. And I'm just big on going with my gut. And every time I don't, I regret it.
What just struck me, Colleen, is you called Faith back and said, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I've never heard an employer do or say that before. And so I'm just trying to put myself in Faith's position right now of how
Craig, I've never made any mistakes, at least during your time here. So that's just,
I wasn't trying to say anything there about that. No, but I'm trying to think how would I process that as a potential employee, that this employer was that transparent and honest. Like, no, seriously, like that would make me want to get to know that employer better and work for them, that they're willing, even in the interview process, to say, hey, I messed this up. I would respect that incredibly. And I can't help but think that once they're on the team and you continue that kind of culture, that they just get totally bought in to your mission and your business. And yeah, it might not be to the level of it's their baby as well, but man, that kind of transparency and honesty, I would respect that in a leader. And that's awesome that you said that.
Yeah, it worked out, and it did. It created a different vibe.
Yeah,
with her. So yeah.
For sure.
It's amazing. Colleen, we're getting close to the end. I maybe you could give us just the Cliff Note version on what the timeline. So you've made a decision at the final candidate and you have someone you're excited to bring on your team. It works for them. You've qualified them, you know, that whole process. Maybe just a Cliff Note version of what that training, like now what? I've done the tremendous task of finding someone. I'm excited about them. Now, how do I get them to actually go out there and do what I need them to do? Because at this point, y'all, you're not out of the woods. You've actually created more work for yourself.
Yeah.
You're getting closer to freeing up your time. So don't stop now. But how does someone go, Colleen, from I've got the candidate, now how do I put my brain into their brain? What do I give them? What do I do? What does that timeline look like? Just so our listeners know kind of what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have them start we're always ready for them to start like the next day. So it's really about them. Do they have to put like, what do they got to do? And we send them like a onboarding checklist that they need to do before they get to their first day. And that is things like, I'll invite them to Slack, signing them into Spiro, having them download the, 5 dozen apps that they need, like the Zillow tours and Matterport and whatever, all of that logging, because they don't need to do that in front of me. Like that is just, so get anything that they can done, like admin side done. Before that, we use Gusto to onboard them. We send them an offer letter. They accept. We kind of go through that process with them. And then we have, Tim calls it Christmas Day is their first day, because they get all of their equipment. So we supply their equipment at Three Palms Media. So they get all their equipment. Tim walks them through all of the equipment. Most of these people are seeing this equipment for the very first time. They don't have experience with a camera. So Tim's spending quality time walking them through all of these things, teaching them how to take care of their equipment, how to, things like that. We're big on that. So that's a big part of it. And just some admin stuff on that first day. After that, we do a second day where Tim is working with them in a vacant house. Sometimes it's my parents' house. By vacant, I just mean no, clients are there, and is showing them how to do all of those things. And then they will then go out and shadow Tim, or now they shadow our lead photographers. So we've got Julian and Justin on our team that do this training now. Like we'll say, okay, Faith and Julian, you're a pair. Julian, go off and train her. And that's part of him. He's now a lead photographer. So we have them shadow us for a little bit. Kind of like that first week from Christmas Day to shadow is a week. And then that next week, we're kind of shadowing them. And we are trying to get them up to speed on photos, floor plans, Zillow tours, and we're teaching them drone. And meanwhile, the very first day, we're telling them, you need to get your drone license like now, like start studying now. We give them all the study material they need. They go off, they take this. We talk about this a lot in the interview process. You're going to have to take a test. It is not an easy test. Are you up for this task? Use all the resources here, and then use our team members who have all taken this test to ask questions. So we make sure they get signed up for that. That's a big part of it, but we're teaching them drone. And our goal is about, 3 weeks in or so that they can be out doing photos, floor plans, Zillow tours, stuff like that on their own, hopefully drone. We say that they have to get the drone within the first 30 days. Some get it sooner than others. And that is the process. And we want them to get really good at with that. So then we send them out, and like the hardest part of the job is finding your flow and like learning how to work with the clients and stuff like that. So we let them do that for a little bit. Everyone's different. It is not one training timeline for every person. We, while we're doing that, we are doing a loom every night, looms of their shoots. Could have done better here. Could have done better here. This is what we do. We are dead honest with the feedback, and we make sure that they know that. A question that we ask in the interview process is, how do you handle, constructive feedback and things like that? That we find is really helpful. Like, don't sleep on the looms. Those really help. I was behind on one of our team members, and I did a bunch of looms for her. And then the next day, her photos immediately got better. So you just need to stack those building blocks. They can't learn it all just from watching Tim. You got to get them out there and then continue to give them feedback. Once they're really in a flow and they've got the drone license, they're doing drone, then we layer on reels and video. And then we have a video certification at Three Palms Media that is just us saying you're video certified. And we'll do some video workshops sometimes, like talk about broader training. We'll block half a day. We'll bring the team. We'll break them into groups, and then we'll have different people training each other on video. And they love those workshops because they get to hang out with the team. They get to learn from each other, which they love. And we have seen those immediately upskill their videos directly after the video workshops. But that's kind of our process. And it really is about checking in with them. How do you feel like you're doing? We have a 30, 60, 90-day formal check-in with all of our new hires, things like that. And you will know after the first couple of weeks if they're going to work out or not. And you do need to let them go fast if they're not going to work out. So
with working out for your company, does this mean like the first mistake they make, or how do you handle mistakes? And how do you've already said this a little bit. I think it's super important with how you handle these, especially very early on. What, and maybe a little bit more on your strategy for that feedback and those mistakes.
We let them know that mistakes are a rite of passage and we expect them to make mistakes, and that we don't care about the mistakes. We care about what they can learn and how they can rebound from them. So
Hmm.
we'll have people be like, I'm not going to miss anything. And I'm like, you will miss everything. You will. Don't be too hard on yourself when you do. And then they do. And some of them get upset. Some of them, that's a conversation that we have to talk about. And that's where personalities come into to play differently. So we embrace mistakes, we champion mistakes. We talk about them a lot because it is actually impossible for them to not make mistakes. So we are very, that's our talk track around that. And then we'll share mistakes that team members have made with like the whole group, which can sound brutal, but we like if I do a loom and there was things that I see so many new photographers make that mistake or whatever, or I'm going to put it in the chat and talk about it that way. Same when they do something really great as well. But we encourage people to learn from each other's mistakes. So we talk about that. And then like one of my favorite stories is my first photographer, Julian, who's great. He is fantastic. And one day he was on site and he dropped his camera and it shattered the whole LCD screen. And I can only imagine just the sheer terror that went through his mind when this happened. And anyways, we didn't know about it. He called us later that day and said, hey guys, this is what happened. I dropped my camera. It shattered the LCD screen. I am so sorry. But based on where I was, I knew team member Leanne wasn't working today. I called her up. I went and got her camera. I came back to the job. I got the job done. I got all my jobs done this day. And I'm so sorry. And, tell me what the next steps are. And I was like, Julian, I was like, I'm so sorry that you dropped the camera. Like, we know you, we know that that's uncharacteristic. I said, I just want to point out, like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. You came to me with a solution. You didn't come to me with a problem. You figured it out. You got it done. I said, that's incredible. And I couldn't ask for anything more. So I really flipped it into a positive, which I truly believe that it was. Share that with the team. And that's a story that I feel like it demonstrates exactly what I am looking for. They crash a drone. We figured out if you're crashing 3 drones, there's a problem. But if I never make them pay for the equipment, anything like that. We always kind of meet it with kindness. And if it's a continuous mistake, then there's a problem. But we've already talked about it because we talk about everything exactly when it happens.
Yeah, that's so important. That's a great way to handle that, Colleen, and then use it for good and use it for a learning experience down the road with the rest of your team.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's how we do it. And we encourage a lot of camaraderie between the team. So we've got a photographer support chat in Slack where like that's where the photographers can hop in and be like, my drone's not working or whatever, or hey, I shot this video. What do you guys think about it? And we encourage that chat to pop off and it does. So there's a lot of camaraderie in there too. And people will share their mistakes, people will share their wins. So that we can all like kind of, learn from each other.
So Colleen, if a listener is out there going, hey, I don't know about this hiring thing. I hired one and that individual is bad.
Yeah.
Should they try it again? Is it worth hiring?
Yes, you should try it again. It is worth hiring. And when you find somebody that loves your company and loves working alongside of you and loves learning from you and their life changes because of you, I mean, that's way better than anything else. Like that's so, so rewarding. And also like that's very me and that's very Tim. That's a reason that day one, we wanted to grow a team. So that aligns with our vision and our goals for our business from the very start. I think that there's plenty of people that they love shooting. Like, great. You don't need to hire anybody else to shoot. I would suggest that you still need to hire, even if you want to be a solo shooter. I think you need to hire an excellent virtual assistant. I go through the same interview processes with my virtual assistants. I find them myself. We pour into them. We make them know that they're part of a team, or maybe you need an admin or something like that. So you can't do it alone, even if you plan to shoot alone. So I think it's an important thing for anybody to try and learn. And I mean, what I said, I've hired 4 people that didn't work out, maybe more. First person didn't work out. People that you think are going to work out, and then their life changes and they leave, and it's devastating.
Mm-hmm.
We just had the first person leave that I was just like truly heartbroken over. And he left because his family moved to Nashville and he wanted to be in Nashville. And that's what was going to propel his life forward. He said, I love what I do. Do you know anyone that I could go work for in Nashville? And I said, yes, I absolutely do. So now he's working at Nashville Media Co. with Kevin up in Nashville. And, it's heartbreaking to see him go. But Tim always says this. Tim says, our whole goal is to leave. If that person leaves like better and we can like get them to their next stepping stone, then we've done our job. You really can't hang on to people either. So we did everything that we could to get him set up according to what he wanted, and how grateful he was for that. It's just like that to me is like what it's all about. So I would say, everything you've done in your business so far, right, is scary. Like starting your business is scary. Getting clients is scary. Having your first mistakes is scary. Like it all is uncomfortable. So you just kind of got to keep doing it and you will get better. Like the first time that Tim picked up a video camera to go shoot, like the video sucked. The first time we hired, we sucked at it. So you're going to suck until you just keep doing it. But so many people let one bad experience change their whole perspective or their whole view. And something that like Eli Jones has always said is like, don't change 100% of your processes for like the 2% of like mistakes. I don't know. He says it more eloquently, but it's basically like, if one little thing goes wrong, don't change everything about your life because of that, So I think it's the same. Your first hire, your second hire, your first 2 VAs don't work out. Doesn't mean that, they're not going to work out. I always look at like, what did I do wrong? Like Craig, when you were like, I called her and said, I made a mistake. Like you have to take ownership of everything. It is your business. I don't blame my photographers when they make a mistake. I don't blame them. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like we sent a photographer out the other day too early to a top client. And they didn't communicate to us that it was this like huge $17 million listing that they need, blah, 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 like crazy. And it got messed up and it was my fault. I sent him out too soon. And things like that. We had to go out on site 3 times until we figured it out. So it was just one of those that I got really down about it a couple weeks ago because I felt like I dropped the ball, and then I just had to pick myself back up and be like, let's just, learn from this and move forward. And I talked to the guy on our team and was like, you're great. You're doing great. Like, these are the mistakes I made. Here's where you can improve. And like, let's just crush it going forward. Like, I was like, how much did you learn in these 3 days? He's like, a lot.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, our guest this week, Colleen Kydd, co-owner of Three Palms Media in Southwest Florida. Colleen was one of the guest speakers at the REPP 2024 concert. How about conference? Was there a concert? I don't know. Maybe there was. But sharing on growing your dream team. Colleen, thank you so much just for sharing your knowledge and your experience with us for those that are looking to grow their teams. Just awesome material.
You are welcome. And I do have my job descriptions that I give away to people all the time. So if you want our job description, I'll send it to you. Just DM me at Three Palms Media on Instagram, or you can reach out to me at Colleen, Colleen at threepalmsmedia.net. It's THREE palmsmedia.net.
Thank you, Colleen, for that they can get that from you. So
yeah.
Wow. What a giveaway. Thank you for that. And then y'all go back and re-listen to this. And she gave you the procedure for hiring. Just write that all down step by step. Create a quick document so you know what to do. You can always come back and listen to this or listen to her presentation at REPP. But write it all down. That'll make things a little bit quicker for you at a step by step. And then that's just a draft. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can come back as you learn things, add to that draft. But that's kind of given to you on a plate there. Thank you, Colleen, so much for everything you shared today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Love it as always.
It's our privilege. We love having you on, and we'll do it again.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, Todd, any closing thoughts from you before we wrap things up here?
There's so many good ones in there, Craig. I think one of the things I just love, that the point that Colleen made, is just, it's not always going to be easy with growth. You're going to screw things up, and that's okay. I screw things up every day. We unfortunately don't really live in a world with a lot of media that it looks like people screw things up. We do. Yeah. We screw it up every day. it's just a natural part of growth. So begin to embrace that and don't be surprised by it. When you're surprised by it, your left brain kicks up, you get these emotions that get triggered, and then you go, oh my goodness, I should close down my business. On the flip side of that, if you expect that and embrace the idea that screwing something up and learning from it is growth, it can just allow you to move along so much easier, not even just faster. It will allow you to move along faster, but it's the ease. It's the idea of like a lot of us as business owners, it's just us out there. And we feel like we're on an island. We feel like we're alone. The cool thing is when you get this process down and you grow a team, it's so just rewarding to see your team take that on and to have a community around you. They love the community. You love it. There's so much that feeds into it. So please just keep trying.
Yeah. I like the way Colleen couched it in terms of mistakes. It's a rite of passage. Such a positive way of looking at it. So awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much, guys, ladies, all of you for watching or listening this week. We really do count it a privilege to be able to be part of your sphere and hopefully add some value to the business that you're growing and working in, not just working on, but working in and on each and every week. We don't take that for granted. So thank you for your time. If you have any thoughts or comments, please be sure to share those here on the YouTube channel, or feel free to drop us an email, hello@spiro.media. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget about that book giveaway. The first person to message us on the Spiro Pink chat bubble. Did I say? Yeah, I said that right.
Yes.
I forget what you
renamed it,
to.
but I forget
right.
what I renamed it. Yeah.
Right. But we would love to hear from you. It's John Maxwell's Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. We would love to just bless you with that book as well and help you continue to grow in your leadership of your business that you're running and growing and developing. Guys, thank you again so much. Make sure you take some time to be thankful for the blessings in your life. You got to make that time each and every day, and make sure you take a breath as well. You have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.